morning, family. I am Tanya Brooks, your FBA community folk herbalist. I hope all had a great night on last night, or a good evening on last night. Let me say right now that I am not a medical doctor. I am not a licensed physician, psychiatrist, psychologist. So you already know where I'm going with this. What I am is a certified herbalist and a servant. So the title of this live is Mental Conditions that can be supported by herbs to promote mental wellness. All right? And I'm also going to be talking about growth. So, growth. What is growth? A couple of weeks ago and on last week, I think it was, I spoke about taking control of your future. I planted some seeds, and let me tell you, growth has happened literally overnight. I will post a picture of my growth and what has grown overnight. My beans have sprouted, my cucumbers, or my son's cucumbers, and cantaloupe. So I'm going to post that growth. I thought it would be at least 2 weeks, but if I remember correctly, on the back of those seeds, it said 7 to 10 days. I planted them last Tuesday. It is Wednesday, the following week, and literally they sprouted overnight, or they grew overnight, because I checked them. Actually, had some family, not family, but I had some friends over yesterday celebrating Hannah's birthday, and I showed a friend of mine the seeds, and they had not sprouted. They had not sprouted. So this morning, and I'm keeping the seedlings on top of my refrigerator. So I had to go in my fridge this morning, and the first thing I saw was my cucumbers. They had sprouted. So I was like, wait a minute, so let me take them down. So yes, my cucumbers have sprouted. The green beans have sprouted, and the cantaloupe have sprouted. So excited about that. But now let me get into the meat of this live. And again, I am not a medical doctor by any means. I'm not a licensed physician, social worker, therapist, psychologist, psychiatrist, any of that. What I am, I'm a certified herbalist. I am a servant, and I am someone that is concerned for the well-being of my community. So, the title again, mental conditions. So I speak a lot about specific ailments, conditions, and diseases. And this is entitled, again, mental conditions that can be supported by herbs and bring upon mental wellness. I'm going to talk about 3 specific mental conditions, what they look like, what specific herbs can support and turn that condition into wellness. All right. So, and let me just say, a condition is something that starts usually a young adulthood, and it is usually an offspring of traveled trauma in your life that started when you were a child. Something traumatic happened to you, you saw it, you experienced it, you internalized it emotionally, and it has traveled into your life, and you see the onset or the culmination of it in your young adulthood. This is my definition of a mental condition. And I remember, like growing up in my neighborhood, and this is not a bad thing, but we would say this. We would be like, you know what, yo, stop acting mental. Why are you acting mental? Well, what you just said is mental. We would be like, yo, dude is mental, or yo, she is mental. And it wasn't a look down upon statement. We as young people were expressing and saying what our peers were doing, or what they were expressing, the way they talked, or the way they may have interacted with us. And especially in the Black community, we do not deal with or accept mental conditions as something that can be remedied, or we look down upon it because they are real. And a lot of times, definitely, and I can only speak for the Black community. I can't speak for no other community because I'm a foundational Black American. So that's why, yes, I can speak upon it. Mental conditions, again, like I said, they start as travel trauma as a young child. And the thing of it is, it's just in families where these mental conditions are cultivated, they're just not dealt with. They're not dealt with. Different things in the adult, what a mental condition looks like. The person may have experienced PTSD. Rather, they've been in the military. They may have experienced PTSD growing up and seeing their parent being physically, mentally, and emotionally abused. That's another form of PTSD. So let me talk specifically about the first mental condition, and that is anxiety. That is anxiety. And I know, like in the Bible, it talks about being anxious for nothing, but that's just not a reality. And the type of anxiety I'm talking about is when mentally the anxiety supersedes your everyday should be able to function life. But the person's condition, they go to bed, they go to sleep, they don't get a good night's sleep. Bye, I love you. They don't get a good night's sleep because all the things that they're thinking about, and it's making them anxious. They wake up in an anxious state. And that is a direct link of something that has happened to them as a young child. And it has grown, it has traveled, and now you're dealing with this adult that just can't even function, just have a natural flow of day without that anxiety, that beast of anxiety kicking up. So one specific herb, there's many, but one specific herb, and it is one of these it is one of the stinkiest, smelliest herbs that is out there. And there are a few out there, but it is stinky and it is smelly. and it is valerian root. I can prepare valerian root tincture specifically for anxiety. Again, my tinctures are vegetable-based glycerin. They are not made with a alcohol, more importantly vodka, because that's what most herbalists will use as a base, but mine is made with vegetable-based glycerin. All right, so that's just one of the herbs and one of the herbal remedies that can be prepared for you to support your mental wellness. All right, another mental condition is schizophrenia and depression, because they go hand in hand, right? Schizophrenia, right, and depression. And you know, usually when someone is having a schizophrenic episode and it starts to come down, they then become depressed, because they don't really realize, they don't understand why that episode just took place, the things they may have said, the things they may have physically done to themselves or to someone else, and they become depressed after. So those two really go hand in hand. And an herb that can support wellness, mental wellness, and those two mental conditions is St. John's wort. All right, and it is great because I can prepare a tea for you that you can drink every morning, right, to help balance you out. I can definitely prepare a tincture, and the tinctures, the great thing about the tinctures is that you'll do your 4 times day drops underneath the tongue, 5 to 10 drops 4 times underneath the tongue. And why, you might be saying, well, why underneath the tongue? Because there's lots of veins and underneath your tongue. If you lift your tongue up, you'll see that. And that is one of the quickest and easiest forms for that herbal remedy to get into your bloodstream. All right, so the final mental condition that I'm going to talk about, and that is bipolar. Being bipolar. And what does that look like? That looks like 1 minute you are Tanya. I'm going to use myself for an example. You are Tanya. And then switch goes off, right? That chemical imbalance drops or it spikes, and I become someone else. I look different. I sound different. I talk different. I can become physically aggressive. And in what I do on my job, I see this all the time in young children, but it's very traumatic, and it's very scary when an adult does not get the mental support that they need, because that trauma has traveled. So yes, bipolar is the third mental condition that I want to discuss. And you know, again, I am not a medical physician. I am not a professional by any means, but from my experience, the whole bipolar mental condition takes place when that child, now is an adult, suffered severe rejection and abuse. And that abuse, well, rejection is a form of abuse, you know, right? When the adult or the guardian in your life has rejected you, and that is a form of abuse, and they've made you feel less than, unwanted, unloved, and that bipolarism turns into also anger, because you'll see people when the whole bipolar episode is happening, they're usually very, very aggressive. And the thing about it is, as an adult, when you become, or as a young adult, when you become aware of these mental conditions, seek help. But one of the herbs that by all means can support this mental condition of being bipolar is California poppy. That's a bad herb. Well, when I say bad, I mean that in a great term, right? The California poppy. And I've made several herbal remedies to support mental wellness for several customers of mine. So, and again, that can be made into a tincture, that can be made into a tea, and obviously to be consumed every day. And also, let me just be very clear, all three of these mental conditions a person can suffer from all three, right? They can. And that's a lot. That's a lot. So I just wanted to come on and share that, that with you all. And again, if you are an adult and you know that you are suffering, because if you're dealing with any three of these mental conditions, and there's so many more, by all means, please, if you want to go, the medicinal way of dealing with that, please, by all means, reach out to me. We can have a consultation. By all means, also make sure that you get in contact with some type of psychiatrist, psychologist for your mental wellness. Because if you don't, these things will continually build and grow and rest and reign in your life and be in control of your life, and you won't be. So I hope this helped someone. Remember, check this out on my Homegrown Wellness 72 community YouTube channel. Contact me. We can have a consultation. We can go more into depth. And as always, remember, be great to yourself, because you are great. Be great to your family. Be great to your community. Without love, self-love first, we have absolutely nothing. Remember, clarity is key, but without consistency, we have no balance. Family, be well.